This is a trade review of a trade I completely messed up. My analysis went right, and this is where I didn't capitalize properly on the trade. I'm beginning to make this public as I am finally doing well with my trade, and this is a sort of a documentary of the trade I took and also somewhat of a journal purposes where I can come back and review my trades and those that may be able to learn something from an up and coming somewhat profitable trader. Okay, for this trade, so right now it's the 9th of November 2023. This was taken on the 8th of November 2023. It's currently 2:43 a.m. Malaysian time, and it's 1:43 p.m. New York time. So this was the review for this trade. Firstly, in GU, what went right was that for this week, I'm completely bearish due to the fact that we came up into this area right here, had a sharp movement to the downside in the monthly time frame, and then this area right here is a potential imbalance where price could come back and mitigate. It's just a potential, it's nothing significant for the trade that I took. It just gave me a broad idea of what price might do. So this was the area that price might be able to come back from to. Okay, for this week we had reacted from this weekly fair value gap for the current week, and of course this is hindsight, so people can say that, oh yes, of course this would happen, but before anything happened throughout this week, I was thinking that price might mitigate from this fair value gap right here for the current week and had a move to the downside. Okay, so with this mitigation right here, two things could happen. One is that price could come to a discount and continue this bullish leg, or second, price could come back and take out this old weekly lows right here and maybe potentially reverse or continue to the downside. Either scenario suggests that price would come to a discount or had a bearish retracement. So those scenarios I outlined, all of it suggested a bearish movement. So I was bearish and I wanted to capitalize on that movement. In the daily time frame, we can see that we had this break of structure right here. Okay, and that break of structure happened after we took sell side liquidity and we mitigate from this daily demand zone right here, which is this area right here. Okay, and we had a move to the upside, and now we are currently retracing for the today trade, which was on the 8th of November. Okay, my idea was that since price had reached this area right here, if I were to take this measurement tool and measure price, okay, we can see that if we draw a line to the right, we are in a discount right now. So what I was anticipating is, since we are in a discount area right here, we could anticipate some bullish movement to take out 4-hour highs or to have a small retracement to the upside, then to continue lower. That was the idea or the premise for this trade. So we know that we are in a discount. If I go to the 15-minute time frame, what I was anticipating was that at that time, the price in this area right here, if you were to see what price did, Asia session made this very low volume trading range. In the switch over to London, mitigate a supply zone, had a drop to the downside, and this was the discount area, this right here, and we can see that after we went to a discount area, we immediately had a sharp move to the upside, breaking this first structure. Okay, and at that time, moving on to New York, we were somewhere around here. If I were to take this OTE tool from here to here, we can see that at the 0.62 level, prior to New York session, we had this low right here. Initially, what I could have done is place my entry in this area, the 0.62 area, or below the inducement. Okay, we can also put it to 0.62 area, whichever fits, but because this would still get hit by spreads, and stop loss just below the low, and target Asia high would have been a nice 1 to 3%, 1 to 4%. This is a beautiful textbook setup which I didn't capitalize on because my focus wasn't there. Okay, and I would also like to draw a line over here, because this was also a one confluence for the trade where we have a low and a higher low. Okay, this was a divergence in the DXY chart because GU made a higher low, whereas DXY failed to create a new higher high at the same time and broke structure to the downside. So we had a DXY and GU diversion. This was a beautiful textbook trade which I didn't capitalize on as I was not that focused. So this was the Wednesday trade, and for Tuesday trade, which I also didn't capitalize on, was this right here. Okay, prior to this move, if we look back at the 4-hour time frame, okay, this area right here, we were before a discount area, so bearish sell could still be higher probability. Okay, if we were to look, of course this is hindsight because it already happened, but on that day I was looking at that Asia create this low volume trading range. London came up, mitigate this fair value gap, had a sharp drop to the downside, retrace and a drop again to the downside. Okay, so that was our new low, our new high to low. Okay, and if I were to put my OTE tool, this area right here was at the 0.62 level area. So at that time, this was a nice supply zone. Okay, and then in New York session, we had this inducement right here. My stop could have just been on the high of the inducement, and stop loss could be at the 0.705 or anywhere above there, and target a 1 to 3, which I also messed up as I wasn't that focused. So I got a late entry which was around in the 5-minute time frame, which ended up in the break even. Okay, because in the 5-minute time frame I got a late fill, I wasn't that focused. If you were to look at the 5-minute time frame, it was a confirmation entry that ended up in the break even. What I meant by that is when price came up here, took all of this buy side liquidity, we had a breakout structure to the downside. Okay, we can see that this structure was broken. Okay, and at that time I was looking at this fair value gap right here, and my stop loss was at the open of the fair value gap with my stop loss above this high, targeting the same low right here. This was a very low reward trade, but since I wasn't focused, this was the late fill I could have gotten. Once price tagged me in and had this move to the downside, I break even my trade, and this trade took me out at break even. So that's what happened to today's week. So I'm excited to document tomorrow trading day of how it goes. But this video right here is the first of many videos where it'll act as a journal for the trade that I'll be taking on right now, as I want to make it public for anyone to learn from it, and also for myself where I can access it seamlessly and convenient enough for me.